Okay, brother. What's going on, everyone? This is a little different than we're used to and a little bit late because of some technical issues, but it has been a fantastic day of volleyball here in Ottawa. And that's not just because my Canada stomped your United States of America, Rob. Stomped. Now, before we even talk about that, my name is Everett Delorme. That is Rob St. Clair. This is the 9x9. It is week 2 of VNL Ottawa. Now, Rob obviously knew it was going to happen, so he planned his VLA trip months in advance in order to get away from any potential bet and any potential repercussions of what could have been happening, of the absolute magic that we saw here in Ottawa tonight. The seventh man on the court really helped lift our wings up into that victory, and it was absolutely magical. But first and foremost, Rob, let's start at the top of the day. It was a big day here in Ottawa.
Big day.
First and foremost, Cuba finally gets on the win column here in Ottawa. They wrap up their week with a massive 3-2 win over France, pretty much giving them 10 ranking points, really helping them climb back up. And it was a gutsy Cuba win. It wasn't the prettiest. It could have been prettier. It could have been cleaner. It could have been quicker, right? It probably should have been a 3 or 4, given who was on the court for France. But at the end of the day, Cuba was able to get it done, and we got to see, and Rob, I'm sorry you missed him. We got to see the legend that is Robert Landy Simon come in and just affect the team and just ingratiate us with his presence and will them to victory.
I'm so upset that I missed it, because finally Robert Landy Simon's presence made a huge difference for Cuba, and they made the switch that we've been asking for. They moved Miguel Lopez to the right side and brought in Margarejo and Yant on the left side, with Simone in the middle. That was enough for them to beat the defending Olympic champions. And sure, they didn't have everybody out on the court, but France is France. Like, France is damn good. And Cuba just gutsy. You said it. Coming back to win that fourth set with potential 0-4 on the line for the week. And to come back and win that fourth set and then win it in the fifth, I think they got, 8 and change world ranking points for that, which is huge, especially for a 5-set win.
Almost 10. It was
almost 10.
It was 9. It was 9 plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. So
yeah, it was big.
This may very well have saved Cuba's Olympic hopes. Like, that is not an overstatement. That is not an overstatement at all.
Not in the slightest. I think that if they had lost today in 3 or in 4, I think it would have been done.
Very possible.
I really think it would have. So, I mean, big ups on Cuba. They really showed up to play. And you know what? I have to say, Rob, I was talking about it with Concepcion after the match in our interview, and they love coming here to play Ottawa. The crowds love them. When they're not playing Canada, Canadian fans are Cuban fans. And you kind of love to see it. Especially on Kids Day, they love the Cuban team, but today, it was clear that they were cheering for Cuba, and I really think it helped them just a little bit to get over that edge. But it was a massive. I don't think it can be understated how massive of a win this was for Cuba.
So important. Marlon Yant, 62% efficiency, 23 points total to lead Cuba. I'm assuming that Teofor had 23 as well, but Yant was automatic. He kind of took over there in the fifth set, at least from the fourth and the fifth, from what I was looking at. And Miguel Lopez, I honestly give him a lot of credit, because it was in that third set when they made the change to move Lopez to the right, and he adapted. We haven't seen him primarily on the right side since that 2019 Norseca championship, but he had a role to play. He had a job to do to help his team back from the brink of Olympic elimination. He helped them do that. And Robert Landy freaking Simon, 5 stuff blocks, only 9 points total. Not the most gigantic impact on the stat sheet, but we've been talking about it all week, Everett. Cuba needed his presence. They got it, and I really don't think they win that match without him. I really don't.
I mean, if you had told me before the match, Rob, that Cuba's efficiency would be sky high compared to France, Cuba was looking at 45. I guess not sky high, whereas France was only at 40.
45% as a team is sky high. That's sky high.
and hitting 59%. Concepcion was 71% efficiency. You had Melgarejo was up at 67. The only one
8 for 12, no errors. That's amazing.
The only one who wasn't high efficiency, the only two were Simon and Lopez. So a really, really good win for Cuba. And they were out celebrating Simon's birthday today afterwards. So good on them. Happy to see that they were happy and were able to get that win. And I know I messaged Heiler after the Serbia match to let him know the result and kind of show him. And they are very, very excited. And I think they're ready for what's to come in week number 3 with a big match against Serbia. Now they're leading them by 5 points.
Yep. Really, like you said, can't overstate the importance of this win. Massively important. They really had a chance of going 0-4 this week. We thought they would play a little better against Canada. We thought they would play a lot better against the Netherlands. None of those things happened. Cuba looked rough. We saw them play Italy yesterday morning. I guess we haven't talked about that match yet, but that didn't look particularly inspired, even though they took a set. But this was so massive, potentially it's quad saving win for Cuba.
It is truly like the difference of that team just in mentality when Robert Simon is off the court versus on is cannot be understated. So I mean, I think Cuba is a dangerous team heading into week 3. I really do. And I really think that matchup I think Cuba versus Serbia matchup is really going to decide it.
It's truly a must-watch game. You must watch that game.
Yeah.
All right, Everett. Here you go. You did it. Little brother finally got big brother once. The blind squirrel found the nut. Congratulations. Canada beats the United States 3-1. In all seriousness, that crowd looked unbelievable. It really looked unbelievable.
Rob,
I'm so mad I wasn't there.
It was special. The only way I can describe that was special. And I had the energy for me felt very similar to when we beat Brazil in 2012. And it was a similar idea where it was a packed house, 8,100 fans. Say it was a little bit less, like 7,000 some. But it was a VNL North American record for attendance. It was, and like Rob, you've been to these enough that the curtains were were open.
Never
and
seen
I
that
kept
before.
on in the first set, I kept on looking up and just expecting to see the curtains and expecting to see that second bowl not open, and it was packed to the brim, to the gills. There was, if you were walking on the concourse, especially on the low side, there were people stacked 2-3 deep. This place was rocking. I'm sure you heard the boos on the broadcast, and whenever the Team USA was serving, that was awesome. I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. And from the first point, from the first set, you could tell that the Maple Volleys had it. That you could tell that the boys had it, and that we're going to talk about the USA a little bit, but man, it was an off day once again for the USA, and it's just been an off week so far, other than that cakewalk win over Argentina. But when you look at Canada, this was a win that they needed, that team needed on a number of levels. First and foremost, for points to get to the VNL finals, right? Canada's never been to the VNL finals, and that's massive. 2, for just the mentality of this team heading on to the Olympics, that like, hey, we just got a good win against a good team, and that's massive. But 3, and I think most importantly, Rob, is that we had 7,000 plus Canadians in here watch us beat the United States in what was a fantastic match, like front to back. And I think that the impact that what this match could have on the people who are today is completely understated. But to be honest, like, USA just didn't have it, and it was Stephen frickin' Marr being an absolute beauty.
God damn it, Steve.
Time and time again.
Talked about this
24 points, 24 points, 22 for 43 with 2 blocks. It was big. Canada served the cover off the ball in this one, especially early on. The numbers maybe don't suggest it. 8 aces to 23 errors for Canada, as opposed to 5 aces and 21 errors for the USA. But Canada actually outpassed the USA 52% positive to only 38% positive on the USA side. And it just seemed like they couldn't get anything going. Anderson started the game and he got subbed out quickly. He was 2 for 10 with a 10% efficiency there in that first set. Aaron Russell wasn't great either. He was 7 for 18 with the only a 17% efficiency. It was rough for the Americans. And now a lot of it was how well the Canadians were playing and how well they were responding, right? We saw the U.S. really pour things on in that second set. And I was a little bit worried. We had blew our load too early in that first set. And just, like sometimes you just blow it too early and your stamina can't recover for the future rounds. But luckily they were able to get it back and get off two good ones after that. But like the third set was really tight. And then that fourth set, like the boys could feel it. Like they were just running for it, and the crowd was behind them. And it was honestly, Rob, the only thing that would have made it better would have been to have you here. Like that's the only thing that would have made this match better. But like on a serious note, not on a gloating note. Like I think you would have had a blast during this match.
Yeah, I would have,
because the atmosphere and the vibe here was unlike it's a top 3 game in North America for me. Like Brazil 2012, Canada versus Cuba 2020, and now this is 100% top 3. It absolutely has to be. It was a game. Like Justin Louis was an absolute rock star.
We saw everywhere.
We saw Xander Ketrzynski come in and go 6 for 12 and really make a nice impact. I thought Luke Herr was an absolute stud, especially with his serving in that first set and just setting
serving
a really
was real good. Yep.
Yeah. No more muffins from Luke Herr. So he actually kind of put me in my place when I talked to him in the interview afterwards. And he was like, if you check, I'm like one of the best servers all time in the Canada West. And I was like, oh shit, you are? My bad. Kind of shows you how much attention I paid to Manitoba, in those years. But
who can blame you? Let's be serious.
Yeah, it was a defining win for this Maple Volleys team. And it was honestly like, I was ready to go home after that. I honestly should have.
Honestly, you probably should have. You had Argentina like should have closed that one tonight out in 3, no problem. They wasted everyone's time by losing 2 sets.
Yeah.
I have some thoughts about this. I have some thoughts about this. First of all, Stephen Marr, you asshole. Come on, man. We even talked about this 2 days ago. He's like, guys, I got my bad one out of the way against Argentina so I can be so good against the United States. And I even said it on the show 2 nights ago. I'm like, man, I'm going to be so upset if Stephen Marr has a terrible game against Argentina and then has a career game against the US and beats my ass. And sure enough, Steve, come on, man.
He did it to spite you.
Of course he did.
He did it to spite you.
Steve,
absolutely he did.
Because he was unbelievable, dude. He was absolutely amazing tonight. He was absolutely amazing tonight. There was nothing we could do about it. It sucked.
It's matches like this that I need to remind the people that, like, I'm not just biased when I think that Stephen Marr is one of the best outsides in the world. I truly believe that. Like, I'm not saying out here saying he's the best, but what he's done this season and what he's consistently done for this Maple Volleys team, including tonight, like, how can you not give this man his flowers? He does it all. He plays defense. He passes. He serves. He bangs balls. There's no one as physical like him. He was an absolute specimen tonight. And he put the team on his back, right? He put the team on his back, and everyone followed. And to be honest, USA, no one was ready to step up and deliver that kind of performance.
Nope.
Right.
That's exactly right.
No one was ready to step up and deliver that kind of performance. I think the only guy who really was there and he was playing competitively, not to say, and I would never ever suggest that they weren't playing competitively by choice, but it just wasn't in the cards for them today. And the only guy that I thought that really went out there and balled out was one was Micah, and the other one was Thomas Jaschke, who I think has actually had a fantastic week. Yeah.
And I thought both the middles were good, but go ahead, Everett. Keep doing your thing.
Oh, sorry. I had one last thing to say, but I thought that Jaschke was their top scorer last night against Serbia. I thought that he's been really, really strong for them so far. But sorry,
he's been our best pin this week by far.
I would absolutely agree.
Yeah, been way more consistent than Russell DeFalco or Anderson or any of the guys that kind of come off the bench below that. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, how much is this match really going to affect in the grand scheme of things for the Team USA? Maybe not that much, but I mean, I hope that this is a wake up call for the United States. I really hope that it is. This was not a good week for us. We're done for the week at 2-2. Not a good week for us, especially after sending the B team week 1 and having it on the record from John Sparrow that this team's goal was to make the VNL finals. We are now 3-5. Even if we go 4-0 in the Philippines, it might not be enough. So that is a big problem in not accomplishing that goal. What, did you lose me?
Yeah, I did for a second. We're back now.
All right, you got me good. So the failing to deliver on the VNL finals goal, whatever. That I don't care that much about that. It's we get if we get an extra week off of rest and training, fine, whatever. I care more about just the kind of the general body language and competitive level of this team. It's not where it needs to be right now. We put all of our eggs in the basket of this team by naming the Olympians so early and by giving them week 1 of VNL off. And then by sending them the rest of the way to the VNL, like I don't remember exactly the way you've said it, Everett, but it's like you learn the most about yourself when you're all in. I think you said it, John Sparrow said it. You learn the most about yourself when you're all in. We went all in just really only in name this week. We brought the bodies to go all in, but I don't think we really played like we were all in. I don't think we played like we were all in. Micah Christensen played like he was all in. Micah Christensen doesn't have any other ability other than to play all in. But other than that, I just there are a lot of things about this week that I even kind of disagree with tactically. I could have told you years ago that starting Matt Anderson 3 matches in a row in 3 days was not going to go well. I could have told you that. That should have never been a thing that we attempted to do, is to start him 3 matches in a row. Because he was bad on Thursday against Italy. He was good last night against Serbia, and then he was bad today against Canada. Like that, there was no way we could have expected.
It's also
we can't do that. Cannot do that.
It's also a quick turnaround.
Yes, it's a very quick turnaround. We played less than 24 hours ago. It's between today and last night versus Serbia. Doing that to Matt Anderson at this stage of his career is not a responsible choice. And without Kyle Ensing going to Paris, why are we bringing him in off the bench tonight and giving TJ DeFalco the night to just not even bother? What are we going to do at the Olympics if Matt Anderson doesn't play well? We've chosen not to bring an opposite. We've put all our eggs in that basket. We've even Sparrow has said that the plan if Matt Anderson is not available or not good, the plan is to do 3 outside hitters. Why did we not take one of the matches through in this 3-game stretch in 3 days to try that, to see it? Instead of giving meaningful playing time to, and no offense to Kyle Ensing, but we gave meaningful playing time to a guy who's not on the Olympic roster. And Kyle D'Agostino, too, the same thing. I know Eric showed you today. He went like crashing into the boards. He had a little cut on his finger that they showed on the broadcast. He got the rest of the match off. Kyle D'Agostino came in. We're not getting better with playing those guys. They're not joining us on the Olympics. Why are we doing that? We're not getting better from that. Other than Thomas Jeschke, who I thought was outstanding all week every time he came in, and the middles. I thought Holt and Averill tonight were perfectly fine, but this team lacked it. This team lacked that American spark. It lacked that American like passion and want to say like, screw you, Canada. You're our little brother. We're going to come into your barn with 7,000 screaming people there, and we're going to put you in your place like we did last year. There was none of that, and Canada played phenomenally well. They deserve to beat us tonight, and it annoys me to say that because I do not like losing to you guys. But I hope that this is a wake-up call for the United States. I hope that they're pissed off about losing to Canada. I hope that they're pissed off about not putting their best foot forward this week, because this is the Olympic team. It is known. That part of it is clear. But where they go from here as they go over to the other side of the world in the Philippines and trying to figure this thing out is not as clear. And I hope that there are some lessons learned from this thing, because we just got beat by what should be one of our rivals that we should love beating up on, and we didn't really get off the bus.
Yeah, no, you definitely did. I definitely agree with you. Why are you playing NSYNC when you know that situation? Like, I don't know why you just don't use that as that learning situation there. So I'm fully on with that. D'Agostino, I'm going to push back a little bit on just because he's the only other rostered libero, and I think there's a good. It's not a bad thing to give Shoji some time off, right? We know Shoji is going to be Eric Shoji once it comes to pairs. There's no doubt about that. We don't know what that 3-hitter system looks like for Team USA. So
should have seen it. Should have put it out last night. Last night against Serbia was the time to do it. Absolutely.
I absolutely agree. And I mean, Rob, I really want to gloat more, but I'm just feeling too good about it. Like, I'm just too happy. About my own team's performance and everything that's happening here in Canadian volleyball to really put down your Team America, because yeah, I mean, we're on top of the world right now and you guys are kind of skidding. So I don't really need to talk about how poor you guys were. Although I do give a big shout out to John Speraw. He offered to do, he asked me, he's like, do you need me? And I was like, look, coach, you just lost. If you don't want to chat, that's completely fine. He was like, I'm gonna head out now. Like, sounds good.
That was in the Philippines. That was very nice of coach to at least offer. But
yeah, he offered. So that's why we love him. And then tried to do some interviews with the Canadians afterwards, but because of how everything was going on, they were just getting whisked off to the fan zone. And Samuel Vuo gave me a quick handshake, and before I could even be like, he ran off.
So you got nobody after that game?
No, I got Luke Herr.
Okay.
I got Luke Herr, but I told Xander Ketrzinski and Justin Louis to not leave without speaking to me, and both of them left without speaking to me. So I'm gonna have words with both of them tomorrow. No, not actually, but it was honestly like the crowd was just so hype, and everyone was so hype, and they wanted to go do autographs, and it was great. So it was honestly like. I wish you would have had a really good time with it, because I know you would have. You would just been getting beaked.
I would have been getting heckled. I loved it.
You know that Mrs. Mara would have come over you and But so I
would have loved it, but I would have loved being there and experiencing that atmosphere, because a special North American volleyball atmosphere like that, like the way you've described it, is real rare. But I would not have liked watching this team today. Like, we needed
that would have made it even better
for you.
Like, watching your,
for God's sake,
today
we needed Garrett Mwangatutia to kill a D ball to force overtime in the fourth. What are we doing here?
Yo, that was actually a snipe from.
It was
from
sick,
G-Man, though.
Garrett
ripped on that. I had to double take, because somebody made a dig and he curled around onto that D ball, and I was like, who hit that? And then I realized it was Garrett. I was like, yo, he even walked through, and I was like, yo, G-Man, that was a sick shot. Like, he pinned that.
It was sick. He came out and did his job, but god damn, dude, like. Oh yeah, that one hurt. That one hurt to watch from here. I had some other volleyball people. I mean, I'm surrounded by volleyball players here. I'm in Cincinnati for the VLA finals, and we were all watching the game, and everyone was like losing their minds about how bad we were playing, and how we couldn't stop Stephen Marr, and how we couldn't serve the ball with any pressure, and how we couldn't hit the ball out of system, and all these issues that were all real, and issues that we're going to have to fix, because if we want to prove to be an Olympic medal contender, we need to play better than we did this week, and that's kind of the end of it. Tough.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's anything about X's and O's with Team USA right now. Maybe minorly the things we talked about, and it's all just about that mentality. Their week was a real weird one. You come in a little bit off kilter because you haven't played yet. Match 1 against Argentina is okay. We
got some kids yelling at me in this like really reverberant hotel lobby that I'm sitting in right now.
So you get match 1, you have Argentina, and you just don't show up for it. Match 2, you have
Italy, don't show up.
Argentina, they don't show up. Match 2, Italy, but the Italian match was weird because they dominated for the two of the for the first half of the first and the first half of the second, and then just lost it. Last night against Serbia, they kind of found it, but Serbia is just such an up and down team right now that you just have to blow on them and they get unsteady, as we've seen so much. And it just, anytime they came up against any real adversity this week, Team USA kind of crumbled a little bit, and that's mostly where I'm worried about. Whereas, what my Maple Volleys, we got pushed down, and we come back and push even harder. Let's go, boys!
Good job. You packed a barn. You played great. You beat our asses. This
barn was packed.
We'll get you in the
great.
Olympics.
Nah.
If we play you in,
I will.
If we play you in the Olympics, you better strap up, buddy. You better get ready.
Yeah,
we're gonna do what the Florida Panthers. We're gonna do what the Florida Panthers did to Marcus's Edmonton Oilers tonight. 3-0 beat down in the first game of the Stanley Cup final for a Canadian team that Canada hasn't won the Stanley. You haven't won the Stanley Cup in your own sport in 31 years. Figure it out. We'll beat you at the Olympics like we always do. I'm angry.
Yeah, you want to talk about beating us at the Olympics? You want to revisit 2016?
Yeah, I mean, we always beat you in general, but you beat us in 2016.
Whoa.
Tough. I'm having a rough day. I'm having a rough day.
Disrespect.
Having a rough day.
Disrespect. I'm just
Speaking of disrespect,
of all the times we've beat you. Disrespect.
Everett, I add that to your list of editing projects that are never going to get done because that one might, because you have to go through 30 whole seconds of footage to find all the times you've beaten us. Figure it out. Speaking of disrespect, Argentina disrespected all of our time tonight by going up 2-0.
Seriously,
and then wasting all of our time by dropping sets 3 and 4. What are we doing? That was a complete waste of time. We could have gotten this show done an hour and a half ago. I could be in bed by now. I haven't slept in a week. Argentina, figure it out. You could have helped Cuba more in the world ranking race. Serbia lost only a point from this. They could have lost way more. So Cuba is probably angry at you as well. Come on.
I will have to say though, as Argentina did kind of fall asleep in sets 3 and 4, but man, Serbia was motivated. Serbia was motivated. Luberic was a beast. Peric was ripping serve. Podolskanin was. How do you say
Podrashkanin? It's like the
Podrashkanin.
Yeah, the S with the S and the C next to each other, both with the little upside down caret thing. They both sound like SH followed by CH. Podrashkanin. Very Serbian. I haven't looked at stats for this. I was just too angry that it went 5. Peric 13, Luberic 25. That's nice. Lima 22. Polonsky 18, including the match-winning kill at 15-13 in the fifth. Fifth set was fun. I just don't think that match really needed that. Argentina's just addicted to going to 5.
Yeah, they really are. I'm pretty sure Lozaire said so on the broadcast as well too. Right? I think he joked about saying we love going to 5.
I remember he said that at an Olympic qualifier game last year.
You could tell that this win more or less clinched things for Argentina. Right now they're 55 points ahead of Cuba. And the way this team reacted, the way they went on the court and celebrated, you could tell that this meant a lot to them.
And the way they did it too, I mean, they did it in dramatic fashion, having to win a fifth set in 15-13. But we talked to Polonsky on Monday after their practice, and he said basically that. He said they needed to win 2 games this week. He thought that they needed to win 2 games this week to be pretty much certainly qualified. So I do think that was a target that team had, that they very much had their sights set on. And they clearly fell asleep when they went up 2-0. But I think they were completely aware of the situation. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, they were. I mean, Bruno Lima was an absolute beast. He had 22 points tonight. He was fantastic. He was 16 for 30. His efficiency wasn't great, but he added 3 blocks and 3 aces. It was a gritty overall full team win for Argentina. Facundo Conte was pretty good. He was 12 for 23. Our boy Polonsky was all right as well. He was 13 for 30, but mostly what I really liked about this win for Argentina is that they had to dig deep and find and show a little bit of passion and show a little bit of desire and show a little bit of something that we haven't seen from the United States, really. Right?
True. That's true.
They played their normal even-keeled style against Canada, and we just kind of fell over. Whereas tonight, when Serbia pushed back, they were ready to push back right back to even on that side switch. We were tied up 8-8. I think it was Polonsky went back, or sorry, it was Lima went back, served a big ace, and just kind of got them going again. It was good to see. You can tell that the vibes are high on this Argentinian team, and I really think that they feel like if they can get into that position, a lot like 2021, if that they can get into that position, Rob, at the Olympics, and I mean, even though, and I talked to Luciano De Cecco afterwards, he was saying that it's still not guaranteed. We still gotta make our spot. That for us, it's pretty much guaranteed that they will. But I think once they get to the Olympics, that if they think if they can find themselves in a quarterfinal match, maybe a semifinal match, they feel pretty good about their prospects.
Fair enough, as they should. They're very talented, and many of them have been there before. But I think that's enough time we've spent on that. We've got a few games to catch up on from like yesterday and from the other side of the world. Obviously, I haven't watched any of these games, but I did think it was interesting that Japan beat Slovenia last night.
One thing.
Oh yeah, what's up?
One thing I do. So interesting moment here. So I'm waiting for one of the I want to talk to De Cecco out. So I'm waiting by the benches here, and all the fans are lining up. There's a young Serbian fan who says something to Ivovic as he passes by, and Ivovic stops. And like there was like a confrontation that needed to be broken up by security. I don't know what was said. It was clear. It was clearly in Serbian, but like, man, that really sucks for Ivovic in that situation. And I really didn't like that from the fan. I think it's one thing to maybe voice your opinion online, but like if you're right there in their face and they've just lost and they know how terrible it is, and you're gonna tell them how terrible that was. And to me, like the kid was no more than 12. He was an absolute child. You know that came from the parents, and that it was a little like it was a rough. Like it was a tense couple of moments there, because like Ivovic, who's not a small man compared to a child, like got in his face and he's like, "What did you say? No, repeat it. Like, what did you say?" And yeah, it was a little tough. So I beg of you, Canadian fans, it doesn't matter where you're from or where, like let's be better. Okay, I know so many of you have been fantastic, but I hold us to a high standard. So let's be better than that.
Let's be better than that. That is not cool. Not good to hear that story. All right, quick roundup around the games on the other side of the world. Japan beat Slovenia at home. Japan kind of played the game because they managed it well, because they played their bench against Poland the night before, got 3 donged, and then responded by, I assume, throwing all the resources out there. Yep, looks that way. Nishida 26. On 57% efficiency. That's pretty sick. And as good as, and Tonchek Stern 27, he's having an unreal tournament. But it is worth mentioning, somehow, as good as Slovenia has been the last couple of years, they cannot beat Japan. Japan is a terrible matchup for Slovenia. I do not remember Slovenia ever really being that competitive against Japan. I remember last year VNL quarterfinal, they got smacked pretty cleanly 3-0. So just keep that in the back of your mind, that if they happen to match up at the Olympics, because Slovenia definitely will qualify, if they happen to match up at the Olympics and you happen to be a person willing to put a wager on something, bet on Japan to beat Slovenia. I think that would be pretty safe given the history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Just a note on this, to all the Japanese fans in the chat right now who are saying that Canada's never won anything and it doesn't matter. Guess what? Japan has won as many FIVB medals as Canada, and the same color, baby. One bronze. That's it. So quit your yapping. Your team's good. Not that great though. Just good.
Relax.
Just good. But yeah, this is a good win for Japan. But like you said, matchups mean so much in this game, and this is a favorable matchup for Japan.
Indeed. What was not a favorable matchup is Poland losing in 4 to Brazil, and this is real interesting. This is real interesting. It looks like Poland made some wholesale changes after set number 2, because things were just not working for them. Did you get a chance to watch any of this, or like digest any of this game?
Not as my plan was to wake up early, Rob, and watch this while I ate breakfast. And I mean, what's been happening, and also Hyler was over at the Airbnb last night.
Oh, was he really? No way.
And some stuff.
Oh
Yeah,
man, I
Hyler
missed
came out and
missed
came.
that too.
Yeah. So it was a bit of a slow morning, let's say. We got to the gym around 12:30, just in time for the first match. But no, I haven't watched any of this match. I actually think I might go back home to Airbnb and throw it on the TV. I'm sure Marcus is still crying about the Oilers, but we'll be able to turn it up a little loud and drown out his tears.
I like that. Yoandi
But
Leal popped off 22 points on
yeah,
58%
22.
efficiency. He seems to
You
play
know,
real well against Poland, if my memory serves. Like I remember the VNL final in the bubble in 2021 when these two teams play. I think Leal was unreal in that game too, if I remember right.
I believe you are. Now, Rob, I'm not worried, but there's two teams that I thought really had things locked in, and it was just about kind of figuring out a few personnel issues and moving on to potentially meet in an Olympic final and first a VNL final and maybe an Olympic final. And both those teams have been giving me kind of wishy-washy performances
What,
throughout this
Poland and the
VNL.
US?
Your United States of absolutely. Like Poland, they just can't seem to really get it together.
Yeah, so I really think that Poland is in a difficult spot. I really think that they are so good and they are so deep that defining roles is going to be really hard for them. Picking 12 guys is going to be really hard for Nikola Grbic and the emotions of those players. Picking 7 guys to start is going to be really hard too. And defining how long the leashes are for certain guys in certain roles coming off the bench when they like this is hard. It is hard for a team that good with that many Olympic caliber bodies to actually choose an Olympic roster. I think that's kind of what you're seeing here is they switched up everything after the second set. I mean, obviously they went down 0-2, like things weren't going super well, but they changed out basically everybody except the setter. Yeah, basically everyone except Janusz and Huber. And I don't know what sort of data Grbic is trying to collect about his team, but whatever it is, I would just really like to be a fly on the wall of the inside of his brain as he tries to make some of these decisions because it is hard. This Polish team is in the most unique situation in the world, and they are the only team that is anywhere close to this sort of a quote unquote problem. But like, don't overestimate or don't underestimate how difficult that is for the coaches and the athletes to try and define clarity of 12 guys when there are so many that deserve to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, to me it's less about data and it just has to be all about vibes, right?
I kind of agree.
When you have a team of Poland's caliber, kind of reminds me of a Don Cherry quote and you know, when he first started coaching the Bruins, and it was just kind of like, I'm not going to tell these all-stars how to run a power play. Just go do it yourself type of thing.
Go figure it out.
And go figure it out. And I think it's kind of what Poland maybe needs to do a little bit, that they just need to figure out their team chemistry and how they work for amongst themselves. I think with their roster, Rob, that you're not going to have defined roles, but that maybe it just becomes like a bit of a situation where you have to discover, instead of the defined rules, how is it going to work? What's the vibe? What's the process? What's the structure? And I think that's that's part of the discovery process. You know, like with Poland, of course, they're hosting the VNL final, so there's no problem. There's no. It's not like they're not going to be there. We already know that they're going to be at the Olympics, and you know, if they lose the quarterfinals of the VNL and win the Olympics, no one's going to remember. Right, so everything is towards getting ready for that part.
Of course,
and it's so hard. You know, like they're 6-2. You can't say they're doing terribly, but there's just some things to be maybe left desired from them. But it's so hard to look at that from such an outsider perspective without you know, actually knowing what's going on in the team and what they're working on right now.
Yeah. Good overall take there. I definitely agree. Also, Brazil, why are you making us watch Uncle Mo in the year 2024? What are we doing? Why are you making us watch Uncle Mo in the year 2024? I don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. None of us want to watch Mauricio Borges. Bernardinho, it's not 2016 anymore, buddy. Get these geriatric dudes off the team and give yourself an actual chance to do some damage in this Olympics and in the future. Because I know Brazil won this game, but that team is ancient and filled with cobwebs, and I don't like watching Uncle Mo. No, Ozzy, I will not admit that Uncle Mo is low-key good. That will not happen. He scored, like 7 points in a 4-set match? Not a chance. Not going to get that from me. You know what is interesting, Everett? I saw this headline like a split second ago. I don't even know if this is real yet. It's related to Turkey beating Iran 3-1 and getting Turkey's first ever win in VNL. Good for them. Big accomplishment. VNL is hard. That should be celebrated. I'm sure it's been a rough 6 or 7 games so far, but this is good. I heard that Iran has fired their coach after the start they've had to this VNL. Is that confirmed?
Yeah, I'm only from the Discord. So like I can't actually confirm, but if it is, that's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
That's hilarious, and it's exactly why they've gone down the dumpster. Iran was a team that went to the Final 8 in 2022. Yep. Iran was a really good team in 2022. In 2022, I was like, shit, Canada's fucked. Like Canada's rebuild is screwed. And then Iran is going to be like in 2022, there was 3 teams, 4 teams if you count France, but they're on another level. There's 3 teams to me that really came on to the scene, the volleyball scene in the 2010s. Canada, Iran, and Slovenia.
Yep.
At a point there, I thought that Iran was going to be the best of those 3s to move on.
Yep.
But the amount of coaches and just the lack of patience from these Iranians, now they're 0-8 and they're garbage to watch. Just absolute garbage. I used to love watching Iranian volleyball.
Me too.
And you've seen how I mean, yes, we got some of one of the best coaches in the world. That's great. But just there's so much changeover for this Iranian team, and it's become garbage to watch. It really has. And it's sad because this is a team that I used to love to watch. This is a team that has some fantastic athletes. I know Kenny Diaper is in Japan right now, and he's watching Amin. He's like, this is great. But just the rest of the team around them is something else. But I think, Rob, if we're going to talk about this Turkey-Iran match, we absolutely need to talk about the performance by one Kaan Gerbers. 34 points last night, 28 for 46, 50% efficiency, 2 blocks, and 4 aces. This is a junior player. This dude was absolutely ripping. Addis is washed. Gerbers for life. Let's go. He was unreal. Like
he was unreal.
We were watching it with Hyler as well, and man, we loved his energy, his fire. You could tell that shit was just going for him. He was getting big block, like slam box, where he's like slamming his hands and it's like in perfect time. But you could tell how much it meant to that Turkish team to finally get their first win in VNL. And I can relate as a Canadian supporter who's at some time found it difficult to find wins in the VNL. I know what it's like. And to Berkay, Rodman's hair, all of our Turkish fans in the Discord and in the community, I hope you guys are happy with this one because it looked like a really good match from your team.
Yeah, good job. Kaan Gerbers, yeah, he's a super like springy, dynamic, left-handed kid. He's played for Fenerbahce. I think he's only like 23. So yeah, real nice for them to have an option behind Addis Lagumja. I mean, 34 is a massive game, especially in 4 sets. I am wondering, Everett, that no matter the result of this game, somebody was getting fired. I don't think it's impossible that if Cedric Enard had lost this game, I think there is a chance that heads may have rolled. Maybe not after this game because it was their second to last game of the week. But if Turkey had started 0-8, I'm not sure that the federation would have stood for that. So I think this was an important game for their team for many reasons. I don't know that. I'm spitting.
I don't know
nonsense.
if he would have had a job. I don't know if he would have had a job after week 3, but I don't think they would have pulled in Iran and fired him in the middle. Right, like that is something that's ridiculous, and it only comes from a stooge federation.
Yeah, that's bad. So that's bad. All right,
that is bad,
quite bad.
Yeah.
The United States beat Serbia last night. I heard that we looked pretty good. I was flying, so I didn't really get to see it. I saw TJ DeFalco bounce the ball, and I saw Taylor Averill was really good.
Taylor Averill was a daddy last night.
And I saw he had the daddy Averill sign in the crowd. That was great. That got a lot of play on the broadcast. That was good.
That was great. Which I really hope whoever was calling him Daddy Averill was calling him Daddy because of our interviews. That's all I wanted. Right?
I don't think it's a coincidence. Just saying. A lot of people saw that interview. A lot of people saw that clip from Tuesday, whenever it was.
We out here creating culture, baby.
Let's go.
Yeah, you know what? I think it was is that Serbia is a very chippy team, and they're a very talky team, and they like talking through the net. And I think they pissed off TJ DeFalco last night. I really do. And he was talking, and he like it was a DeFalco swagger match, even though Thomas Jaschke led them. I mean, Avra was fantastic with 5 blocks and 7 kills. It was a DeFalco attitude match, and they were blocking him terribly. You know why he was bouncing balls? Is because Michael was just setting him normally, pushing him all the way out to the pin, and the old man that is Antanasievich was just jumping and watching the ball past him, and TJ like at a certain point, I'm pretty sure Michael was just like, I'm gonna set you party balls because they're not getting the block out. Like it was just terrible blocking from Serbia.
The one that I saw him really rip down the line was horrendous blocking from Serbia. I have no idea what they were doing with their block alignment. They were nowhere close to being in the same area code as him.
And this is exactly kind of what happened again tonight. Is that like, yeah, Serbia, like they're athletes and they've got a lot of brute strength and they've got so much skill on the ball, but they just lack the basic skills and structures that, you know, as a Canadian player, we just take for granted. Like, hey, if I see that ball go,
volleyball IQ team, a low IQ team,
which is weird. Like, which is super weird, given how skilled they were. But yeah, it was an all right match from the United States. So I will say though that I did ask John Speraw to go easy on us in last night's interview, and he did. So that was
dude, you gotta upload those. I really want to hear the people that you talk to.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was.
We've had a lot going on. People, just you wait until you see some of these interviews that we've done.
Honestly, Rob, I after we beat USA today, I'm ready to go home. Like, there's still 3 fantastic matches for me to watch, but like, I'm very content with what we've done this year at VNL. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on for us right now behind the scenes a little bit, but with how well Friday went and how everything's gone, like I'm ready to pack her up and pack it in, like, you know, like
I mean, you guys saw it we teased it a little bit on Instagram. We might as well just tell these beautiful people watching, the 3 people that we interviewed yesterday.
All right. Yeah. If you're watching with us right now,
you may already know, but you deserve to know if you're watching this. So Everett sat down with Canadian legend Gavin Schmidt, who was one of the most dominant opposites of the 2010s, and you guys talked for 90 minutes about,
honestly, and we could have talked longer.
You could have.
We could have talked longer if you hadn't given me the little good old. Yeah, that was real special. Gavin just got inducted to the Volleyball Canada Hall of Fame on Wednesday, and it was really special because it was just all stemmed off of like me running into him in the VIP area. He was just slinging me beers and we were just reminiscing. I was like, yo, can we talk about this? And he was like, absolutely. And what I loved even more is that oftentimes when I ask athletes for interviews, you have to pester them. Dude, like before I could even get to him, he had messaged me on Saturday being like, on Friday being like, what's going on today? Are we doing it today or tomorrow? Like I'm in. And that was huge. And then, like, there was no prep. It was just, let's just go and riff and just chat and share stories and reminisce, because you guys are going to have to watch it once it comes out. It was really special for me on a number of levels, because, yeah, like that. I'm not going to say it was my childhood because I was 19 when I started working with Volleyball Canada and being a part of that team, but a lot of formative years for me in volleyball had to do about that national team and that man who led it. And he was Canadian volleyball doesn't sell out 7,000 people in this stadium tonight without Gavin Schmidt. And 100%. I 100% fully believe that. And I absolutely can tell you that there's other people around who would also be the same, but Gavin Schmidt is one of those people at the top of the list. So that for me was really special. And then we went right in. Literally, like there was a moment where Gavin and the one and only Robert Landy Simon, well, might as well say it now, we're in the same room, reminiscing, talking, and then Rob, you got to join us, luckily, and we had what I could never have thought that conversation would have gone that well, that he would have been that open and that genuine with us, and like to watch him smile and laugh because he's always so serious and menacing on the court, just to see him open up as the person he was amazing. Like it was amazing.
It
How
was
did you
really
feel?
one of my favorite volleyball memories ever. It really was one of my favorite volleyball memories ever. Watching Robert Landy Simone smile in our conversation with him, and just yeah, like you said, how open he was with us, and a huge, tremendous shout out to our very good friend Haylor Corrales for being Robert Landy's translator. He's also his best friend, but Robert Landy insisted on referring to him as his translator jokingly throughout the beginnings of the interview. He told us some unreal stories. He tried his best in English. He gave some in Spanish. Hyler was a great resource. It also blew me away that Robert Landy had never been interviewed like that before in his career. This man is an all-time legend, arguably the greatest middle blocker in the history of the sport, and he has never been
It's not
heard
an
from
argument
like
for me.
this before. Yeah, we even said it in the interview. I agree. It's not an argument for me either. He had like nobody had ever like thought that this is a guy that we should talk to before. And for whatever reasons that was, I'm just so happy that some of his stories got to be told, and that people will hopefully get to learn a little bit about Robert Landy Simone, the person, after seeing the legendary Robert Landy Simone, the player. And I couldn't have been more proud of how that went. I'm really excited for you guys to see it.
Yeah, me too. It was really special. I really thought, and I really think that like today, like when he was walking around, Alex was filming him, and he was like interacting with Alex's camera. So I'm hoping that maybe he was able to feel comfortable enough with us that we can do more of those and really just build on that through the later stages of his career. But then from a legend, who's retiring to quite possibly, in our eyes, the next best thing, and I don't think it's even the next best thing. I think it's the current best player in the game. I got to sit down. Unfortunately, Rob, you had to jump on a flight, but I got to sit down with the one and only Alessandro Micheletto, and I was told time and time again that he was very nervous about speaking English and wasn't comfortable. And then when the time came down to it, he was an absolute rock star. And did the entire thing in English. And once again, I couldn't believe how genuine and open he was. And he was laughing and he was smiling. He has a really infectious presence as soon as he comes into the room. He really does. He immediately came in and was like, "Hey, everyone," and was shaking hands and smiling and stuff like that. Like, it was really fun. It was a lot of fun. I told him about our nickname for him and everything, but you're gonna have to check that out as well. I really can't. I'm really excited for you guys to see some of the content. Like, Rob, you said that like yesterday's Simone interview was one of the coolest things you did. Yesterday day for me was one of the coolest days I've had in volleyball, period. From that progression of interviews and talks, and just the like, it was really special for me. So big thanks out to it was Haylor, who really helped us hook things up with Robert Landy Simone. He had basically told people that he wasn't going to be doing any interviews, and Haylor, who we've gotten to know fantastically, and I'm really happy to call him a friend now by the end of this week. He was the one who was really vouched for us. We can't thank him enough. And then also big shout out to Volleyball World for making it happen with Micheletto as well.
Yep, that was not an easy interview to arrange, but it was.
Bro, it was supposed to be at like 6:37, and in our interview with Robert Landy Simone, they're like, he's going to do it at 5:30. The amount of times like the times change and everything, but you know what? I understand with athletes, and I think as we continue to do this, that being flexible like that is going to be important. And at the end of the day, with how well that interview went, I'm really glad that we were able to be accommodating for him.
Couldn't have said it better. So I think that's a show. It is officially midnight here on the East Coast. I'm going to bed. Everett, I strongly encourage you to do the same. We got one more day of VNL in Ottawa tomorrow. Everett, you and I will just kind of figure it out tomorrow afternoon if we're going to be able to rock one more of these. Might be able to do it Monday too.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
If we can't wrap it up, you and I, Rob, I think I'm going to try to grab Claire and do a wrap up with Claire Hannah.
That's a great idea. I think she.
So, and if you can join us, then I might even just get her to join us on here for the show.
Sweet, that would be great. Yeah, I think she would do really well on our channel. So we'll make it happen. But we appreciate you all. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to Volleyball Source, obviously. all of the interviews that Everett has recorded the last like 2 days or so will be coming very soon. So so keep an eye on. And there's there's more than
I
enough
had to
to
go
go
get a
back
new
and
hard
listen
drive.
to. Oh, did you?
Yeah, I had to go out and get a new external hard drive. So now that I have that, I'm going to be able to actually put it on to the put it on that and get them out. Love you all, Rob. Miss you, buddy. Your team sucks. My team is great. I hope you know that even though there is no bet, you will have to do something as repercussions for this.
That's fine.
So,
Yeah, we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out.
French national anthem before the next show.
Honestly, I don't hate it. I think I'm willing to do that. I just need to learn. I just need time to learn that second verse in French. We'll stay tuned, people.
No, it's the whole thing in French.
It's that second verse,
no, the
right?
whole thing in French. No, that's only the hybrid sports version. There's a French version and an English version.
Right. But like the hybrid one is where you sing the first and the third verses in English and the second verse in French.
I'm gonna write out the I'll send you the lyrics of what you're gonna sing.
Oh, great. All right, people. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.
All right, I'm exhausted. Alex wants to get GTFO. Bye, guys. We love you.
Peace.